Are you living the life you truly want to live? Or have you been weighed down by limitations you unknowingly accepted and burdens you've been carrying around for far too long? If that resonates, get ready. Because today, we're embarking on a journey to declutter your mind, soul, and daily existence. In this video, we'll uncover 11 powerful lessons, eye-opening realizations that'll inspire you to ditch the dead weight and align with the person you're truly meant to be. Take a deep breath, grab any materials to jot down realizations, and let's dive in. Point number 1. Imagine for a moment that your true, radiant self is a brilliantly shining star, unique, luminous, and shining bright with your innate gifts. But surrounding this star is a dense cloud of expectations, limiting beliefs, and incessant noise from society about who you should be. With each people-pleasing action, each decision made to fit in rather than honor your truth, that star gets obscured further, dimming your light. Living this way, a prisoner to external approval and validation, is soul-crushing. You're essentially letting others determine your worth, stifling your authentic expression to cater to outside expectations. But you were born to shine. Not sparkle in subservience to others' demands, but radiate with the fearless self-confidence that comes from unapologetically being you. So how can you start breaking free from this dependency on approval? First, reflect on whose acceptance you relentlessly seek. Chances are it's not from the people who truly care about your well-being. Next, make a list of 10 traits that make you uniquely you, quirks, strengths, perspectives that make you shine. Refer to this when you feel that urge to conform. Finally, set boundaries with those who diminish you and make space for relationships that celebrate your authentic self. As we move forward, remember, shedding the weight of people-pleasing not only elevates your journey, but also inspires others to embrace their authenticity. Speaking of journeys, our next point, point 2, takes us into the realms of time, how living in the past or future can hold us back. I was reminded of this tendency to escape the present moment when I met a young man named Alex a few months ago. We struck up a conversation on the train after I noticed the inspirational book he was reading, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. As we talked, it became clear Alex was completely consumed by regrets over his past mistakes and anxieties about his uncertain future. He couldn't stop ruminating on what he'd done wrong in relationships, missed career opportunities, and the profound decisions looming ahead. Something shifted when I pointed out that by fixating so desperately on the rear and front windows, he was missing the spectacular view right in front of him. This remarkable journey of here and now. I'll never forget the look of realization on his face as he let those words sink in. When you live trapped in the past, you carry emotional baggage that weighs you down and prevents growth. And when you live frantically projecting into the future, you feed anxieties and miss the profound lessons and joys available today. Living untethered from the present robs you of your grounding, your peace, and your ability to achieve your fullest potential. To become grounded in the present, start by consciously hitting the pause button anytime you notice your mind spiraling into the past or future. Take a few deep breaths and look around you. What do you see, hear, smell in this moment? Focus your senses to pull you into the now. Next, schedule short, mindful breaks throughout your day to practice being fully engaged without judgment to what's happening presently. Finally, reframe your perspective. The past is for learning, not reliving. The future will unfold one step at a time based on your present choices. I invite you to share one thing you'll do today to anchor yourself in the present. Your experiences could inspire someone else to find their own moment of now. Point number 3. Close your eyes and imagine your favorite person in this world, a loved one who means everything to you. Now picture yourself having an interaction with them, but you relentlessly put them down with harsh criticisms like, "You're not good enough. You'll never amount to anything." Sounds unthinkable, right? To treat someone you care about with such cruelty? And yet, so many of us have an insidious inner voice that deploys this exact kind of negative self-talk against our own being constantly. By subjecting ourselves to this barrage of belittling mental commentary, we erode our self-worth, confidence, and motivation to show up as our fullest selves. It poisons our outlook and perpetuates feelings of inadequacy. But this repetitive stream of negative self-talk has about as much truth to it as if you directed those harsh words at your loved ones. It's time to show yourself the compassion you deserve. Here's a strategy. The next time you catch yourself being self-critical, pause and reframe that thought positively. If you think, "I can't do this," counter it with, "I'm doing my best, and that's enough." It's about nurturing a compassionate inner dialogue. I challenge you, note down one negative thought you often have and rewrite it into a positive affirmation. Share your affirmations in the comments. Let's inspire each other to cultivate positivity. Mastering your inner dialogue sets the foundation for healthier relationships, not just with yourself, but with others too. Point number 4. Imagine a beautiful, lush garden you've lovingly cultivated over years, tending to the soil, nurturing growth, and creating an environment for flowers and plants to thrive in their full vibrancy. Now envision weeds, planted by someone else, suddenly taking over and draining nutrients until your garden wilts. This harmful invasion is analogous to what toxic, disrespectful relationships inflict upon your peace of mind, self-worth, and overall well-being. Whether friendships, family ties, or romantic bonds, relationships are meant to nourish our growth, not hinder it through abuse, negativity, or stagnation. Remaining entangled with people who consistently disrespect your boundaries causes incredible distress. Their beliefs, behaviors, and general treatment of you pull you away from blossoming into your highest self. If you're in a similar situation, start by getting radically honest with yourself about the person's impact. Make a list of how the relationship drains you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Next, set firm boundaries about what behavior you'll no longer accept and critically stick to your limits. If they cannot respect the boundaries after expressing your needs, they may need to be removed from your garden entirely for your self-preservation. This applies to all types of relationships: romantic, friendships, family, and more. Though painful, surgically extracting those who cannot treat you with basic human respect may be required for your emotional survival and growth to truly flourish. One powerful way to uphold boundaries is using clear if-then statements. For example, "If you continue to dismiss my needs, then I will have to limit my exposure to you." Follow through is key. Before we dive into our next point, here's a quick bonus insight: the transformative power of gratitude. Taking a moment each day to acknowledge what you're thankful for can shift your perspective from lack to abundance, lighting up your life's path with positivity. What's one thing you're grateful for today? Please share it in the comments. Point number 5. Think back to the last time you went through a painful breakup or dissolved a close relationship. You likely felt raw, vulnerable, dealing with complex emotions surrounding grief, anger, relief, or regret. Now imagine taking those tender feelings and broadcasting the intimate details across your friend group or on social media. The probing questions, unsolicited advice, gossip, and opinion sharing from all sides. It's akin to having salt rubbed into your fresh wounds, unnecessarily extending the anguish. As difficult as relationship endings are, there is wisdom in keeping the intimate specifics about why it ended close to the chest. Preserving privacy around the dissolution protects both parties' dignity and creates a sacred space for personal processing, reflection, and closure to happen in due course. Public airing only breeds toxic speculation. When ending a relationship, as damaging as the impulse may feel, resist the urge to disclose personal details to others. If processing must happen, funnel it into a private journal or dialogue with a trusted confidant. This preserves the sacredness of the situation. Next, proactively set boundaries with friends and family. Let them know you need space and will share when you're ready. Finally, get offline for a bit and make more time for self-care activities to process challenging emotions inwardly first. As you honor this period of grieving, healing, and growth with discretion and compassion for all involved, you'll find the intensity eases over time with grace. While cultivating gratitude can transform our perspective, let's also consider how our digital habits shape our experiences. Onward to exploring our online world. Point number 6. Imagine social media as an all-you-can-eat buffet, with endless rows of tantalizing dishes being continuously added and refreshed. It's overflowing with variety, from nutritious, wholesome fare to indulgent treats, and even some toxic, poisonous options sprinkled about. Without moderation and intentional plating, it's easy to binge mindlessly, consuming far more than is healthy while feeling unsatisfied as soon as the plate is cleared. Social media functions the same way for our minds. Endless news feeds and curated glimpses into others' lives can trigger unhealthy overconsumption and toxic comparisons. Alex, the young man from the train, was hopelessly hooked on social media. His days consisted of endlessly refreshing Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, chasing dopamine hits from others' curated glimpses into life. It left him feeling unhappy and disconnected from his own reality as he spiraled into toxic comparison traps. Alex's wake-up call came when he missed an intimate moment with a loved one because he was mindlessly scrolling. As they vulnerably opened up, he was completely checked out, numbed by his newsfeed. In that moment, Alex realized how insidiously social media had consumed his ability to be truly present and nurture genuine human connections. It was a shattering revelation about the boundaries he desperately needed to implement. Alex then set strict social media boundaries, enhancing his real-life connections, a path you can follow for more meaningful interactions. To reset your relationship with social apps, begin by conducting a social media audit. Take stock of your typical daily intake and identify pain points or triggers. When do you find yourself mindlessly grazing or binging out of check? Next, remove or mute attention vampires mercilessly. Anything provoking unhealthy comparison, judgment, or generalized negativity. Be proactive about populating your feed with uplifting accounts that inspire and don't deplete. Fill that freed-up time with enriching real-world activities you've been neglecting, like reading, exercising, meditating, or nurturing relationships in person. For those still with me until the very end, I have one final, deeply transformative bonus to share. Stay tuned. Point number 7. Picture a baby learning to walk. Okay, I realize using a baby analogy may seem a bit cliché, but hear me out. They stumble and fall repeatedly in those early stages. But at no point do they beat themselves up and say, well, I'll never get this walking thing down. I'm just going to quit and accept being carried everywhere. Instead, that baby celebrates tiny wins, like balancing for a few seconds or taking one more step than last time before falling. They have zero fear of failure because they understand falling is just part of the process. This mindset is what's required to eliminate the fear that keeps so many of us playing small. Fear of failure is that persistent voice that tells you not to try something new in case you look stupid, feel disappointment, or get rejected. It masquerades as pragmatism, but is really just an insecurity that reinforces your comfort zone at the cost of stalling growth. The irony is, giving into this fear becomes a self-fulfilling cycle, breeding more fear and less learning from inevitable missteps. To eliminate this joy-stealing fear, start by simply noticing the voice in your head that pipes up with worst-case scenario thinking anytime you have a goal or growth catalyst. When it speaks up, consciously reframe failures as stepping stones to mastery, not defining shortcomings. Next, purposely pursue lower-stakes failure practice by putting yourself in situations where you may bomb or feel awkward but have limited real downside. The more you become comfortable with that feeling, the smaller the fear's voice becomes. Finally, adopt a mindset of curiosity, one where you view every experience, even failures or setbacks, as opportunities for growth if you approach them with an open and inquisitive attitude. Now, I invite you to share a time when you turned a failure into a lesson. Your story could be the beacon of hope for someone who's standing at their cliff's edge, hesitant to jump. Point number 8. Imagine you're hiking through a lush forest, drinking in the sights, sounds, and scents of nature's splendor. But every few steps, you pick up a rock and shove it into your backpack. Before long, that pack is feeling awfully heavy and weighing you down, making it harder to keep trekking forth. Yet for some reason, you keep compulsively collecting each rock, slowly burdening yourself more with each one picked up. This is the dynamic at play when you choose to hold on to grudges. When you fixate on grievances, replaying past wrongdoings and nursing resentments towards others, you accumulate mental and emotional weight that bogs you down. It prevents you from being light-hearted, appreciative of the present, and able to continue your journey with spunk and vigor. Grudges become anchors, poisoning your ability to thrive. To release the weights of a grudge, start by getting honest with yourself about how it truly makes you feel physically and emotionally. Notice the tension accruing in your body anytime you relive past wrongs. Next, explore what continuing to clutch this grudge actually gives you. Does it realistically serve you or provide resolution? From there, experiment with forgiveness. Not for the other party's sake necessarily, but for your own stuck energy to be freed up. You can extend compassion while still establishing firm boundaries going forward regarding their role in your life if needed. Point number 9. Imagine you're in a race, but instead of looking ahead, you're constantly glancing at the runners beside you. This is the insidious dynamic of constant comparison. It's like driving while obsessively checking the speedometers of other cars rather than keeping your eyes on your own route ahead. This distraction slows your progress and increases the likelihood of crashes, doesn't it? Ironically, I realized Alex's obsessive comparison actually stemmed from his attempts to be a more present, mindful person. Allow me to explain. Alex had started practicing mindfulness to be more present, but his social media feeds were filled with others appearing blissfully zen, doing yoga on beaches, embarking on adventures. He began incessantly comparing his ability to live in the moment against these idealized portrayals. The more he felt he fell short, the more Alex fixated on his comparative shortcomings, completely undermining the intentional headspace he hoped to cultivate. It was a vicious cycle, craving presence and purpose, yet self-sabotaging by getting consumed in unrealistic assessments of his journey's timeline versus others. Many of us can relate to this paradox of seeking alignment while simultaneously being our own worst enemy through inevitable social comparisons. When we habitually size ourselves up against others, we reject and diminish our own inherent worth. We become blind to the remarkable journeys, talents, and strengths that make us who we are. Comparison breeds insecurity, envy, and a mindset of lack, making us feel inadequate and incomplete on our own terms. It robs us of the ability to celebrate our lives authentically. To cease the draining cycle of comparison, you must become a self-awareness ninja. Watch closely for any time you instinctively measure your self-worth against someone else's circumstances or accomplishments. And catch yourself. Bring your mind back to examining your own growth, progress, and unique strengths fully. Practice identifying comparison traps like selectively viewing just someone's highlight reel on social media, gauging your rate of success against others, and more. Replace compare and despair with pause and appreciation for how far you've already come. As you mindfully release comparisons, you'll reconnect with gratitude for your own gifts, blessings, and beautifully imperfect journey. Every time you choose self-compassion over judgment, you reinforce self-acceptance. I'd love to hear how you've overcome the habit of comparing yourself to others in the comments below. Your insight could be the encouragement someone else needs. Point number 10. Embrace the power of mystery and strategy when it comes to your goals and ambitions. Think of it as a high-stakes game where revealing your hand too early could undermine your success. Keep them guessing, maintain your strategic edge, and let your actions speak louder than words. It's not about secrecy, it's about choosing the right moment and the right audience for your revelations. Remember, the most successful strategies often unfold behind the scenes, where preparation meets opportunity without the distortion of outside noise. So, chart your course, stay focused, and unveil your achievements when the time is ripe, leaving everyone around you both inspired and intrigued by your calculated approach to success. The key is to protect your goal's incubation period by being selective and strategic in how and when you share them. Ask yourself whether someone truly needs to be looped in during the fragile beginning stages. If not, practice creating within a container of self-trust and imagination first. Only divulge your aims to those whose feedback you genuinely want and who have demonstrated the emotional investment to understand your vision. You can politely deflect prying questions about your projects by reframing them as exploratory stages for now. Regularly reconnect with your driving motivations too. When you safeguard your goals from skeptics and external noise early on, you preserve their conceived purity and nobility. You give them the sanctuary they need to gracefully go from glimmer to game plan to game changer. So, have you ever experienced a time when sharing a goal too early affected its outcome? Or perhaps keeping it close to your chest helped it succeed? I'd love to know. Point number 11. Picture a beautifully rugged, ancient tree growing in a forest. Its trunk is gnarled and crooked, bulging with knots and healed scars. Branches extend outwards in a delightfully asymmetrical array. To some, these idiosyncrasies may appear unsightly or flawed, but to the wise observer, each unconventional curve and crevice tells a story of resilience through harsh storms, adaptability in changing climates, and a unique journey of growth. Just like this tree, our own perfectly imperfect selves are shaped by the elements of life's experiences. So often we're conditioned to chase airbrushed ideals of physical, intellectual, and personal perfection, judging ourselves as inadequate for any perceived flaw or deficiency. Yet it's our very imperfections, when we learn to embrace them, that convey richness, authenticity, and the truth that we're naturally evolving beings. Flaws are proof of our perseverance, not some defect to be erased. To liberate ourselves from perfectionist traps, we must build shame resilience, the ability to recognize feelings of deficiency, while consciously separating circumstances from our inherent worth. One powerful practice is conducting a daily check-in where you identify perceived flaws or growth areas, then speak to them with the compassion of a caring friend. You can ask, what lessons or strengths are emerging here, versus fueling self-criticism? Additionally, populate your spaces and feeds with diverse portrayals of beauty, talent, and expressions of self. expanding your definition of what's acceptable beyond antiquated ideals. Most importantly, appreciate the vulnerability and courage it takes to simply show up as your authentic, unpolished self each day. Extra insight. I've reserved this gem for the final segment, ensuring only the genuinely interested are tuning in. Do you know how to identify your true calling? Venturing slightly off the beaten path here, but trust me, it's crucial. To uncover your life's calling, you need a moment of solitude, free from all distractions. Ponder on what genuinely matters to you, what ambitions you wish to fulfill. This could range from nurturing a fulfilling family life, excelling in your career, mastering an art form, to making a difference in your community. The spectrum of aspirations is limitless. It's essential to delve deep into your desires. Once you've pinpointed your aspiration, it's time to scrutinize its authenticity. Many aspirations are fleeting, influenced by external factors rather than being a reflection of your true self. To ascertain whether your aspiration holds genuine significance, embark on a why inquiry. For instance, if your aim is to excel in your career, question why. If your response is to achieve personal satisfaction, probe further. A person truly connected with their purpose can sustain this line of inquiry, unveiling layer after layer of deeper motives. However, someone influenced by external portrayals of success might falter in this introspective journey. This method swiftly reveals whether an ambition is a profound yearning or a superficial desire. Persist in questioning your motives, and you'll unveil your true purpose. Remember, embracing your life's mission is a game changer. Don't forget to engage with our content if you're keen on elevating your life. Hit the like and subscribe button to stay updated. Until next time.